much indeed for coming this evening. I'm Carole Stone, the Managing Director of YouGovStone. And the debate this evening at the Royal Society is, where's the influence? Google or Murdoch? So over to our chairman for the evening, the distinguished broadcaster and publisher, Andrew Neil.
We did an opinion poll on this to go through these issues. We've got the results. Please welcome the co-founder of YouGov, Stephan Shakespeare.
Good evening. This is a great time to have this debate, partly because, of course, today Rupert Murdoch declared war on both the BBC and Google, and also because our poll shows that the country is in a state of complete confusion about this very question. We asked, who do you think is most influential? And there was no question about that. 68% thought that Murdoch was the most influential, a mere 18% thought that Google was the most influential. We asked in 10 years' time, well, there was no question when we said, would it be Google or Murdoch in 10 years? That was, again, 68% in favour this time of Google, with 13% expecting Murdoch to have the most influence. No question about who they preferred, 5-1 in favour of Google.
There's a huge difference between what Murdoch does and what Google does. Rupert Murdoch seeks influence. He wants to affect how people think. Google professes not to want to do any of those things. It's not so much do no evil, but see no evil and hear no evil. And the truth of the matter is that Murdoch has been in this business of trying to affect the world that he operates in for 50, 60 years. A £12 billion corporation exists because people are willing to pay. There is an important debate that is engaging at this very moment, and Stephan referred to it in his introduction, which is pay and free. How do content creators defend their investment in content if all the world is moving to free?
But it's a foolish man who bets against Rupert Murdoch, as David has been saying, and once again he's placed himself at the centre of the current struggle within the media. And it's a struggle for survival and relevance of traditional media in the midst of this profound disruption of digital that all of us in this business, the influence I think is with Rupert Murdoch at the moment, but probably with Google in the long term. I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the next general election next year, which will be the first blog election, the first election where I think the blogs have a real impact within the UK on what happens. But you know, the key thing really in terms of advertising at the moment is in engagement, and the value of users who are loyal to a brand and seek the brand is many, many times greater than those who come to your site simply out of the search, because they engage with your content to a greater extent and therefore engage with the advertising to a greater extent. It's certainly galling for all of us in this business that Google are the fourth most trusted news brand without actually creating any content at all, but it's something that we have to live with. But we're going through the same struggles as everyone else. I believe strongly there's still a need for public media in the digital age, but it's got to be on demand, and Radio 4 and BBC One are there for the minute, but in the future it's going to be mobile and it's going to be on demand.
Imagine the future of 2014 or 2015, I changed it recently, and that's when Google has acquired Amazon and basically controls all the world's information, which, remember, controlling all of the world's information is their ambition. That is a world when there's one company that knows absolutely everything about you. However, the issue to think about tonight is what is the threat to many of the institutions we love. They have 94% market share. When you type in an issue, imagine who is controlling what comes up first. There are businesses, many of them, that are driven out of business overnight because they've dropped from 1 to 1,000 on Google's natural search engine ranking, and they have no idea, no recourse, and no one to ask.
But I chose to kind of look at the question in, around 3 points. Who's closest to the consumer? And is the consumer the customer? Who's making the most money? And then long-term, who can you avoid? There's a fundamental network orientation to business these days, and that goes far beyond just the fact that Facebook is important. In every aspect of business, there's a new set of dynamics, and it's around this network orientation. So ultimately, I think it's not so much about paid content, but who's going to control the economics of all the future business growth, the future business innovation, and that's where it does get quite scary in terms of the hold that Google has on the market, because ultimately you can't avoid them. You can choose not to watch Fox News, you can choose not to buy Murdoch's newspapers. You can't also, though, be interesting to watch whether or not you can ultimately avoid Google. Content is the new software. Media, all media is going IP. The person who controls the alignment of the economics in that IP media world then controls really the economics for most of business.
In terms of where's the influence, Google or Murdoch, we don't really see it like that, as one or two of the speakers have suggested. Our mission isn't to control the world's information, importantly, it's to organise the world's information, and a very, very important distinction there. So, we are often mistaken, I think, for a media company, but we're in fact a technology company. First, that we produce nothing. What we do is we produce search. We're driving 1 billion clicks a month on Google Search and Google News through to the websites of newspapers. And once the newspapers are there, the newspapers can monetize those clicks. So we're sharing $5 billion a year with with publishing partners across the world. That's actually more money than we take in profits. We accept that the current business models are struggling to deliver the revenues that have disappeared in the advertising market. The papers initially decided to make their content available on the web for free, and what we're doing is searching that content. But there's absolutely no reason why that should be the case. The papers are perfectly at liberty to charge. The key question, I suppose, which one we'll debate tonight, is will it work? It's the internet that has changed everything. So if the question is where is the influence, I think the answer is very, very simple. The influence in the future is going to be with the consumer, and not with Google or with Murdoch.
I think it's very difficult today when the Sun, with its Gordon Brown letter to the aggrieved Mrs. James, with an N, has set the UK news agenda to argue that News Corporation and its various entities are not influential. I'm not really sure that this particular dilemma or controversy is one that you want to win. You know, I do think that we have to take a step back from this, and as Peter Barron was saying, accept that we are doing very different things. You know, ultimately, which is more influential, the British Library or the Library of Congress, or the UK government or the US government. I don't know Rupert Murdoch particularly well, but I would say I think what he wants to do is he wants to make money. So I just want to take you 50 years from now. People will look back on him as one of the major figures of the last 150 years in the media. People will remember things like the creation of the Sun. I think the Times will still be with us, the Wall Street Journal will still be with us. Will Google still be with us? I'm not so sure.
Who is more influential as things stand now? Who has more influence? Who has more influence in our society? Let's stick with the United Kingdom at the moment, since that's where most of us are from. Is it Rupert Murdoch or Google? Rupert Murdoch, put your hands up. Well, I don't think Google has to bother really. Google, let me see, but it's a pretty big majority for Rupert Murdoch. In 10 years' time, who will have the more influence? The Murdoch organization. Google. The future would be with Google in that vote.